10 random magic cards rated, day number 77. Today is Golf Voice Day. Happy Monday, everyone. Let's see what the first card is. It's Oppression. 3 mana, 1 and 2 black for an enchantment. Whenever a player plays a spell, that player discards a card from his or her hand. This card's good. I just can't keep up Golf Voice for too long, right? You guys like the normal dulcet tones. Maybe we'll just read in the Golf Voice from here on out. But yeah, Oppression's pretty good, man. This card still runs a few bucks, although apparently this one from Wilds of Eldraine Enchanting Tales is like 30 cents. And that is a really, really good deal, man, especially considering the art is pretty sick still. So yeah, awesome. I like this a good bit, especially as part of like the black commander like discard decks, or the ones that like to set up like large black enchantments and just kind of sit back and not cast anything. There's a few like that. Play like Painful Quandary, soon to be Grievous Wound, right? There's a few commander decks that could take advantage of this like pretty easily. So always liked Oppression. So have a lot of people. Apparently the foil one from 7th cost $100 still. Wow. But all the foils from 7th cost a lot. It's just 100 is a lot even for those. But yeah, fantastic card to start their week off with, I gotta say, man. It's a little bit narrow in terms of what decks you actually want to put it in, but it's an effect that you're not going to find anywhere else, and it's actually a pretty good rate for that effect. So I'm going to give Oppression a 6 to start the week, and that's a little bit lower than I want to give the card. I'll go 6.3. I'll push all the way up to 6.3 on Oppression. I think this card's great. But we'll move to Eternal Witness, everybody. Originally, I think we've already done this card. Have we already done this card? I think we've done one like it if we haven't done it. Originally printed in 5th Dawn. I don't think we've done this because I don't remember having looked at the 5th Dawn artwork. But there is an artwork that I like even more. It's the one, I think it's a Secret Lair. Yeah, that's not it though. Sorry. But that's it right there. Magic Online promos? Huh. I've got this. I've actually got this art in paper. I've got this art. Man, that 30th anniversary one's pretty nice right there on your screen on the right. I like that. But anyway, this is the art that I've got for Cube right now. This is 3 mana, 1 and 2 green for a 2/1 human shaman. When it ETBs, you can return a card from your graveyard to your hand. So cast Regrowth when you play this spell, or when you resolve this spell, or when she enters the battlefield. Really, that's how it actually works, and that's what matters, because that means that you can blink her, you know, flicker her, you can bounce her and play her again, you can reanimate her. There's a ton of ways, just because this is on a body that effectively let you cast Regrowth like over and over and over, and that's insane. I shouldn't have to tell you, this is like one of the most iconic Magic cards. I was fixing my mouth to say Commander cards, but it's just one of the most iconic Magic cards of all time. So there's a reason for that, man. I think we have to give Eternal Witness like a really high score. I will give E-Witness an 8.1, which is a really high score. That's so high, but I still think this card pulls its weight, man. It's in a lot of commander decks for a reason. Regrowth on a body is sick. You know, you copy it. That's another one I didn't mention earlier. You copy it, and you get to do the effect again, and it leads to so many combos and just grindy values. So many things this card can do. It is, in a lot of ways, just better than Regrowth. And I would have to give Regrowth like a really high score too. So sometimes I'm kind of thinking that 8.2 is like too low, but in the 8s, that just means you're a phenomenal Magic card. Man, 2 kind of good cards to start the week. Has it only been 2 cards? Am I right in saying that? Am I? Oh God, we have to go through all the Eternal Witnesses. That's why it feels like it's been, yeah, it is. It was only 2 cards. All right, cool. Didn't know when I put this strike on my piece of paper here. So, third card of the day is Dauntless Gar. This is, you know, worse. This is 3 mana, 2 and a white for a 3/2 human soldier. Pay 1 and a white and exile it from your yard to put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So you know, I like graveyard value. I like graveyard value like so much, actually. But this ain't it. I would assume this is not it. The idea is that you don't even play this. You don't cast this at all. You just mill it into your yard, and then suddenly you got the value from milling it and whatever else comes with that. But you also get a 1/1 for just a couple of mana. It's not as bad as it could be, so I'm just going to give it a 3.7 and move on here. It's not bad. It's not bad. Herborg Uprising is up next. This is also not great. 5 mana. This is originally printed in Apocalypse. 5 mana, 4 and a black for a sorcery. Sorcery. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand and draw a card. All right, so that's 3 cards. That's 3 cards for 5 mana. Still not good, but it's in black. You know, you're going to get back 2 pretty important things to your game plan, plus a cantrip. I can't score this like incredibly low. I'll just give it like a 3.4. I'll give it a 3.4. It could be worse. You know, it's really good. 3 cards for 5 in black. Yeah, maybe, but probably not. Ooh, a brand new card at time of recording at least. This is Ticket Booth and Tunnel of Hate from Duskmourn House of Horror. Ticket Booth is 3 mana, 2 and a red for an enchantment. It is a room. When you unlock the store, Manifest Dread, man, I'm just going to have to explain all the mechanics of the set in this one card. But Manifest Dread basically means that you look at the top 2 of your library, face down one of them onto the table. That's a 2/2 now, and you can flip it up if it's a creature. And you put the other one in your graveyard. Now, rooms work like this, right? You cast one half of them first. It doesn't matter which half you cast, right? So you could cast Tunnel of Hate first if you wanted to. That's 6 mana, 4 and 2 red. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature gains double strike till end of turn. Okay, right? And then, once Tunnel of Hate's on the table, you can pay 3 mana, and now you have Ticket Booth's effect, so you Manifest Dread. 9 times out of 10, you will play Ticket Booth first. Go ahead and Manifest Dread. When you have the 6 mana, unlock Tunnel of Hate, attack, boom. Pretty bad, though. I would say it's not a good Magic card. So maybe if you can engineer a really cheap way of unlocking Tunnel of Hate, this could be like, okay, once you get Ticket Booth down, or maybe you reanimate it, which doesn't unlock either half of it, right? But then again, if you can cheaply unlock Tunnel of Hate, we're kind of talking. But overall, I think the card's kind of poo-poo. So I'm going to give this a 3.7, mostly because like rooms could be better than we think they are by and large, but by definition, I guess, in that case, I don't think they are. We'll move on to Genesis Hydra. I love Genesis Hydra. When was this originally printed? Magic 2015? That makes some sense. This is 2 green and X for a 0/0 plant Hydra. When you cast Genesis Hydra, reveal the top X cards of your library. You may put a non-land permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then shuffle the rest into your library. Genesis Hydra enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. So really, really cool card here, man. So you cast it. You reveal 6 cards from the top of your library, a lot of the time 5, 6. And then you just put a non-land permanent. It says non-land. It's not even a creature. It's non-land permanent with converted mana cost 5, 6, whatever, or less from among them. So this will almost always give you some form of value. It's almost like cascading or discovering or something like that. But you get a little bit more of a choice in the card that you actually get off the top of your library than you do with a ability like Cascade. So I like a lot about this card. I've played it a lot. You know, we have it in our sort of simplified cube. I think that it's been featured in one of the cube videos on the channel. It's also going to be in mono green cube whenever we get around to that video. We've basically got that one all ready to go. But I just haven't found time for the video yet because it's like endless spoiler season right now. But maybe soon. Maybe. Still, yeah, Genesis Hydra is a card that I've resolved tons of times, and I've enjoyed it pretty much every time I've done so. So, you'd be surprised. Genesis Hydra equals 9, like wins the game, and happens like all the time. It's a really cool commander card, dude. I'm gonna give Genesis Hydra like a 5.7, and a lot of that is because I personally really like this card, but I think that it earns a lot of that score too. Love Hydras, man. Just in general, Hydras are cool. But Vadc, Astral Archmage is up next. This is 3 mana, 1 a blue and a red for a 1/2 legendary human wizard. If it's neither day nor night, it becomes day as Vadc, Astral Archmage enters the battlefield. Archmage. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost X less to cast, X being Vadric's power. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, put a +1/+1 counter on Vadc, meaning that you don't get a +1/+1 counter when he ETBs if it was neither night nor day. Because day did not become night, night did not become day, nothing became day, so you don't get a counter. It's a little bit lame. So you get a 3 mana 1/2, Goblin Electromancer, right? It's basically a Goblin Electromancer for more mana than that thing costs. And then you have to keep up with the day-night cycle for the rest of the game. I guess that you could like pump this guy's power in various ways and then cast big spells. He's probably a neat commander, but not that neat. I've said before a lot, that being a unique commander will get you a long way with me. But I'm just not feeling this guy as much. But I do like cost reduction, and it's not too hard to envision a world where, because of auras or some other static anthem effect of some kind, or even just a pump spell, this guy starts, being able to cast ridiculous spells, Magma Opus or whatever, for really cheap. And I do like the cut of his hair. So probably better than I want to give him credit for, but I'm going to give him a 5.1, mostly because of the commander status. If commander didn't exist, I probably wouldn't be doing this series in the first place. It's mostly for cash commander, but if I wasn't, he'd be like a 4. But moving on to Enraged Revolutionary, an actual 4 or less. This is from Conspiracy and only Conspiracy. You can pay 2 and a red, and it's a 2/1 human warrior with Dethrone. Whenever this creature attacks the player with the most life, or who is tied for the most life, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Bad card. Bad. Starts as a 2/1, becomes a 3/2 for 3, which is still bad, especially considering vanilla 3/2 for 3 that attacks. The next turn it becomes a 4/3, and then it's starting to be worth its casting cost, but it's still vanilla. This card's really bad. 2. No, 1.8. We'll go 1.8 on that. No, we'll go 2, because I guess in an aggro deck, but then you have like a million better 3-drops. Don't play this card. It's really bad. Slippery Bogle, on the other hand, is a good Magic card. This is a green and a blue for a 1/1 beast that cannot be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control, also known as Hexproof. Just a 1-mana, 1/1 Hexproof nightmare. It still costs $1 to order this card for some reason. The Ultimate Masters one cost $2 plus. I guess the art is like slightly better, but I do like that eventide border. Either way, man, Slippery Bogle is he's got a whole archetype named after him. Bogles. Like cheap, sometimes aura or pump spell based decks that use hexproof creatures to make sure the opponent can't really do anything to target your guys, and you just like go ham with auras and again like pump spells that give them trample, and you just win. And if this guy hadn't existed, it would be a lot harder to make decks like that. Right now we still make decks like this, but we have to rely on Snakeskin Veil effects and Tyvar's Stand, Tamiyo's Safekeeping, Royal whatever it is, the thing that basically gives them hexproof or World or whatever when it comes into play. Royal Treatment is the name of the card. We've got a lot of like 1 green mana effects like that we use in standard decks nowadays, but we didn't used to have to do that. We just play guys with hexproof. Bogle is there's a ceiling on this card, but I'm still going to give him like a 6 just because of what he represents. Again, whole amazing and very irritating deck named after him that I can't stand playing against. We'll move on to Zur Enchanter. Looks like my dad. This guy looks like, every time I see this card, I'm like, this guy looks like my dad. 2 mana, 1 and a blue. Not that he looks like my dad because he like looks like me kind of, and he could be my dad. No, he looks like my actual like real life dad. It's 2 mana, 1 and a blue for a 1/1 wizard, a human wizard nowadays. You can pay 2 and a black and tap him. Target player chooses and discards 1 card from his or her hand. Ignore this ability if that player has no cards in his or her hand. Use this ability only during your turn. So you can't do an instant speed discard, but this is still a guy with tap, they discard a card. 3 mana, yeah, but tap, they discard a card is not something that you see every day. So much so that this card was only ever printed in Ice Age. And I don't think I knew that about it. Love the Douglas Schuler art, mostly because like kind of looks like my dad. I'm a sucker for stuff like that. And it's just good art. He's got a little like bauble full of butterflies, and that looks so good. Good color palette on the art. Anyway, card itself is not amazing, but discard on a stick. It's kind of unique. You don't see it every day, even for the cost. So I'm going to give Zur Enchanter the honorary 5. No, I'm not going to do that. You don't deserve that. I'm so sorry, buddy. I'm going to give this like a 3.1. We'll go 3.1 to close the video out for Zur Enchanter here. I love you, buddy. But that is all we've got for today. Hope that the rest of your week ends up being just gosh dang amazing. And I'll see you back here tomorrow morning, everybody. Bye.